Check, check, check. Check, 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 check.
Hello and welcome everybody to tonight's program. My name is Keegan Schmicker. I'm the Executive Director for the Tipton County Chamber of Commerce. This is the second time we've had an opportunity to host a candidates forum like this. So for the audience's information and benefit, this is actually going to be live streamed on social media on our Facebook page. So if you wish to share that out, either on your campaign page or with your friends and family, that will be there on the Tipton County Chamber of Commerce's Facebook page. To get started this evening, I'm actually going to invite Janine Lake. Is she back from?
We need just a few more seconds.
Just kidding. I didn't bring any stand-up material for you guys, so I don't. So we'll actually begin tonight's with the school board, the Tipton Community School Corporation. So first up, if I could have Chris McNew join me. And while he's making his way up to the front, the way we plan to program this, similar to our primary, I'm going to invite these candidates up individually. I'm going to ask them questions that we have prepared and shared with these candidates, and they'll have an opportunity to address you. We do ask the candidates keep their responses at 2 to 3 minutes. We want to make sure that we're being efficient with time and not abusing your time. So thank you, Chris, for joining me.
Thank you for hosting this. This is wonderful.
So Chris, starting off with the school corporation. Second page here. So the first question I have for you, Tipton Community School Corporation has been making some significant changes over the last few years to help reposition the school for success and growth. Do you expect to support these efforts, and what new ideas do you think should be explored?
Well, first of all, of course, I support this. We have been going through, as you said, a lot of changes. Some of the changes you can see from the outside and some you can't. I think our refurbished football field is amazing. I think that our new greenhouse is something that's going to be around for generations to come. The tennis courts are coming along. The parking lot's coming along. I'm really excited about the modern science labs that are being constructed in the middle school and the high school. I would like personally to see these programs continue, and actually I would like to restore our planetarium to use. Not a lot of schools have planetariums, and I think we're lucky to have one in our middle school. Going through the construction process also, we've been told that our school system physically is in excellent shape. Our high school's 60 years old, middle school 50 years old, and our elementary 20. The architects have come back and said we've got good bones in our school system. And I really think we're not going to have to probably build in my lifetime. We've got excellent outside and within the structure. We just need to continue to add programs that will benefit all of our students. And one thing I would like to see added in our high school would be some additional dual credit type of courses. I'd really like to see an AP biology added.
Very good, thank you. Second question I have is similar to public safety. Our local schools continue to struggle with turnover as a result of funding. Do you have any thoughts on this issue and how the school may be able to create solutions to reduce turnover?
Well, turnover is going to happen in every school corporation. It does every year. People move, people get out of the profession. That's the area that I want to see us really take a look at. Why are people leaving Tipton Community School Corporation, whether that be a staff member or a student? As good as we are, we can get better, and we need to make sure that we're able to service all of our students that attend. I want to look at why some of our local students aren't attending Tipton Community School Corporation. That's where we need to be drawing from. As far as staff members, we just gave, and I believe you were on the board, we gave a very, very nice raise a couple of years ago. The problem there is we gave a raise, everybody else gave a raise. So we need to try to be competitive when it comes to salary, but we need to be competitive when it comes to a work environment that's healthy for not just the students, but for the staff members as well.
Sure. Very good. The last question I have for you, with student enrollment still a major priority for the school district, do you have any thoughts on how to grow enrollment at Tipton School Corporation?
I think what we're doing right now is what needs to be done. I think we need modern facilities. We need programs that are going to help kids beyond high school. And I think no matter how our football field looks, it all boils down to the quality of education. And I think we need to continue our outstanding standards and add to where we can.
Well, thank you, Chris, for joining me tonight.
Thank you, Keegan.
Please give Chris a round of applause for that. Next up for the school corporation, the school board, I have Eric Underwood. Thank you, sir, for joining me.
You're welcome.
First question I have for you, it's the same questions I gave to Chris. Tipton Community School Corporation has been making some significant changes over the last few years to help reposition the school for success. Do you expect to support these efforts, and what new ideas do you think should be explored?
Yeah, Chris did a nice job of explaining some of the construction to the building, the athletic fields. That's important, right, to compete when you're a small school like Tipton, and everyone around us seems to have more advanced facilities. So that is a great effort. What I would like to see done is what do people like and not like about what we've changed, right? I wasn't here for a lot of those changes. If you don't know, I'm a fairly new resident to Tipton, and I'd like to know, what do people think? So are we surveying the taxpayers, the parents, the students, and find out what they think that we're doing right and what we're not doing right, and focus on those things that are important to those people, you know?
Very good. Second question, similarly to public safety, our local schools continue to struggle with turnover as a result of funding. Do you have any thoughts on this issue and how the school may be able to create solutions to reduce turnover?
Well, I am a teacher that turned over. I taught high school at Southwood High School just up the road for 5 years, and I left, and I think I left for the same reason a lot of people leave jobs, and that is the culture and the leadership. I didn't leave because of pay. I went into teaching not expecting to make a lot of money. That if you do that, someone's not giving you very good guidance in college. You're not going to get rich. But I wanted to coach and I wanted to teach, but I felt like the leadership was not listening to the teachers, and I think that's something we need to do is find out from these teachers that are leaving, why are they leaving? Are they leaving leadership? Are they leaving Tipton? You know, some are just leaving because of family reasons, right? The other spouse's job transfer or whatever. So we really need to track that and find out why people are leaving and address that as a board and administrators. I'm not trying to throw the administrators under the bus and say it's their fault. What I'm saying is, are we listening to what the teachers need? I was at the school board the other night. We have a couple of new administrators that presented. I really liked what they had to say. I think we have some good leadership there. We just need to focus on what do these teachers think is important, and are we listening to them?
Very good. Last question I have, with student enrollment still a major priority for the school district, do you have any thoughts on how to grow enrollment at Tipton High School or Tipton Community School?
Yeah, I know a lot of people are concerned about students. A couple buses, I guess, come to Tipton every day and take students to other neighboring schools, and I'm guessing we get some in. Once again, and it sounds like a broken record, but let's survey those families that are sending their kids to a neighboring school. Why? What are we not providing? What do we not have? Like Chris mentioned, my kids went to a much bigger school district in another state. They went off to college with a lot of college credit, almost a full year of college credit from their high school classes. Is that what we're missing? Is it discipline? Is it quality of teachers? We really need to know why people are leaving, and we need to know why we're picking up some students. So I think our reputation, you know, word of mouth, besides test scores, besides what we know here in the community, what do other people think about Tipton schools? Why are they coming or why are they not coming to our school?
Very good. Well, thank you, Eric, for joining me
Thank you.
tonight. Again, let's give Eric a round of applause. The last school board member on my list is Gary Johnson. Is Gary here with us? He is not. And Jason couldn't make it this evening either with a death in the family. So we're going to transition back to Plan A, Janine Lake. If you'll join me on the stage.
How's everybody doing? Nice to see you, Keegan.
Thanks for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I feel right at home in the church. I'm a pastor's daughter.
Janine, if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to give you the opportunity to address this audience because I don't have any specific questions to ask you, but offer you an opportunity to address the audience with your platform ideas on how you think your candidacy would impact the lives of those who live in Tipton County.
Okay, well, first of all, my name is Janine Lee Lake, and I am running for Congress in Indiana's 5th Congressional District, which includes Tipton. It also includes Howard, Grant, Delaware, Madison, Hamilton, and Madison. What did I say? Grant. Okay, there's 6 of them, and that make up the 5th. And I don't know if some of you know, but I had ran before when we were the 6th, but with the 2020 census, they changed things a little bit around, and now Muncie and Delaware County is in the 5th. So I wasn't trying to like get over on anybody or anything like that. We actually were put in the 5th district. The reason why I'm running for Congress is because I believe with my whole heart that at some point we have to have leaders in Congress that have 3 things, and I think I have them: calm, compassion, and courage. I believe that we have to stop electing people that are, one, kind of self-centered, in it for the money, and promote tribalism. And I say that because we're in a church today. The Bible says, or Jesus says at one point in the scripture, "Other sheep I have that are not of this fold." He knew that there were going to be people within the church that thought differently, that saw things differently, that experienced things differently, and that felt and emoted, I guess is that a word, things differently, and received him differently. And instead of making those people seem like they're otherworldly, foreign, demonic, just terrible people, he tried to do whatever he could to bring people together, bringing in the sheaves. Let's reason together. Fear not. Don't fear your neighbor. Talk to your neighbor. All of those things. Now, I'm a person of faith, but I also believe in separation of church and state. I do believe that. Those words aren't necessarily in the Constitution, but that's the meaning of it. So I because I'm a pastor's daughter and the daughter of, the granddaughter of 2 pastors, maternal and paternal, I grew up in the church, and so those things have been raised in me. That's who I am. But I do appreciate the fact that there are other people of other faiths, and I want to make that clear. But that being said, I think that we have come to a moment where people are exhausted with all of the tribalism, all the hate, all the nastiness, all of the name calling, and there is a remnant. There's a remnant of people that honestly and truly want to make a difference in their country. And I'm a moderate Democrat. I'm a Christian. I always say on my page, and judge me or not judge me, I'm a Christian Democrat. I'm a moderate Democrat. I try to see both sides of an issue. It might be because I'm from a family of 15. I have 12 brothers and 2 sisters, and 8 of them are ministers. And I did not go into the ministry because I'm worse off than they are. I always say I was a journalist instead. But I just kind of felt, and so my pulpit, I guess, was either writing or now politics. But I always believe this. I always believe when it says the United States of America, at some point, Brother Harry and Sister Lynn, that was important for us. That was important for us to view ourselves as this. And because united we stand, what? Have we been divided enough? Have we fallen enough? Is there a bottom? Because I think we're almost there. And unless we start thinking about our brothers and our sisters and preferring one another, and I know I'm talking a little bit in a church tone, but I mean this. And it's not all, you can get these good values even outside of the church. But submitting to one another. I don't have to be right all the time. If you've been married for any more than 24 hours, you can't be right all the time anyways. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. I think I'm a good person. I graduated from Ball State University. I went there for my undergrad and my grad, so I used to live in Lafayette, so I drove through 28 all the time. And that's how I knew about Tipton's Pork Festival, because I got caught in it in the middle of the... One time, I was in it in the parade recently, and I remember when I was 18 or 19 years... How long have you guys been having this parade?
It's been over 50 years now.
I was going to say, because I knew that was either here or another place on 28, but I'm pretty sure it was... the Tipton parade that I was in, got kind of caught up, and I was like, oh my God, this thing is lasting forever. But the other day when I was in the Tipton parade, the Pork Festival parade back in September, I had a great time, and I appreciated all of the people. So I'm just a regular person. I'm not rich, I'm not poor. I went to college, and God blessed me to have a good career as a journalist. I have 2 children that I adopted, and I have 2 other foster children that I helped raise as well. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a business that I run. It's called Elite Media Group, and is the name of the company. And then the company, or the paper that we put out every other month, is called The Good News. And yes, it is a play off of words, the good news, the gospel of Christ. But I was a reporter for 15 years, and again, the negativity was overwhelming at sometimes. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to take my experience after 15 years, my degree, and I'm going to bring it to the table, and I'm going to write about people of faith, and I'm going to write about good stories. And even if it's a negative thing that has happened to a person or a community, we always look for the good. So that's a little bit about who I am. I'm here.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to join us tonight and address the audience, and you'll be sticking around just for a little bit, but you
Yes.
got somewhere else to go, so I thank you for your time.
Thank you,
and
Keegan.
everybody, if you would give her, please, a round of applause. Thank you. Next up on our agenda, we're going to transition to the county council. So, Maureen, if you would join me, please, on stage.
Hello.
First question I have for you. Tipton County owns the Kirkendall property located in Prairie Township, yet little has been done with the property since the county accepted ownership several years ago. Do you have any opinions on what should happen to this property?
When I got that question this afternoon, Keegan, I laughed out loud. We drove an hour yesterday to go hiking at Tippecanoe River State Park. That property is 1.5 miles from my house. So my first question would be, what was the county's intent in accepting it? Did they have a plan? Did it fall through, and why? But if there was no plan and they just accepted it, I think it would make a great nature center. My husband went out and walked it today a little bit to look at it. He says it would be really easy to clear some trails. But I noticed there's no county parks department. So who would manage it? So another thought came to my mind of asking a land trust to step in. We're not making any money off it. It's off the tax rolls. There's a conservation easement, so we can't do much with it. But there's 2 land trusts near us, Niches and Acres, and there's also the Nature Conservancy. And they have a broader base of funding that could do something with that without using county money. And if you did use county money, you would probably want to get some volunteers to work on it too.
Sure.
But it's beautiful. We drove past it. I looked up who owned it, and I saw it was still in the state's name when I looked it up. So we've always wondered about that.
Sure.
And we would have loved to have walked up there yesterday instead of driven an hour to the state park.
Thank you. Second question I have for you. The competition for taxpayer dollars during budget season seems to keep growing every year. These requests come from county departments, but also other service providers to the county. Knowing not all projects can be funded, how would you approach prioritizing requests during the budget season?
The first thing I would look at is to make sure we've tapped every source of funding. So is there state funds we could get? Are there federal funds we could get? Are there non-governmental organizations that might want to fund some of the stuff we want to do, like a park, a county park? And then I would go with where the most need is to help people. I'm more interested in helping people than corporations, because I'm a Democrat. And I think the roads need to be a priority around here. As the county develops, it's going to become more of a bedroom community. 31 is your road right down to Carmel. All sorts of businesses in Carmel. That's why we picked Tipton, because I work in Carmel, and it's just a straight shot. So you're going to see a lot more people like me coming in that are new, that have different ideas. And to encourage them, you need to have the types of things that families want. So parks, a bike trail. There's that abandoned railroad through the county that would make a wonderful bike trail. And like I said, you can get NGOs, non-governmental organizations to chip in.
Right. Well, thank you, Maureen, for
Thank
joining
you.
me. That concludes your questions. Thank you. Next, I have Jan Smith. Your first question, same as Maureen's. Tipton County owns a Kirkendall property located in Prairie Township, yet little has been done with the property since the county accepted ownership several years ago. Do you have any opinions on what should happen to this property?
Yes, I do. I currently sit on the Tipton County Council, and I've been on there for 2.5 years, and I served back in 2014 for a year. So I'm kind of familiar with the county council and how it operates. The Kirkendall, I wrote my thoughts down so that I could stay on track, so I just wanted to share that with you. The Kirkendall family gifted the state of Indiana 72 acres in northern Prairie Township. After the gifting, the state turned the property over to the Department of Natural Resources, the DNR. The DNR, having no use for the property, deeded the property to Tipton County and the Tipton County Commissioners. That transfer was completed in 2018. The 72-acre wooded property is exempt from property taxes, and the only liability is the annual ditch assessment, which is $114 annually. Although there are certain restrictions placed on the property by the DNR, it would be prudent to me that the land be used for common good for all of the community. Keep in mind that the future use of all county assets is under the control of the Tipton County Commissioners, and at some point they will have to decide.
Thank you. Second question, the competition for taxpayer dollars during budget season seems to keep growing every year. These requests come from county departments, but also other service providers to the county. Knowing not all projects can be funded, how would you approach prioritizing requests during budget season?
It is true that the budget continues to increase in the past few years. However, we must keep in mind that certain events that has a great impact on the budget do exist. For example, inflation, insurance, and there are other costs to the government that can arise. It must be remembered that there are just so many dollars available to fund local government. To this past budget cycle, as it was necessary to tap into the reserve funds to balance the budget. However, the reserve funds are still very, very healthy. We've made sure of that. From time to time, additionally requests are asked for, some that were not anticipated in the budget cycle and some that are requested for specific projects during the year in the form of additional appropriations. As in the past, it will be my intentions to evaluate such requests on a case-by-case basis and keeping in mind that you, the taxpayer, has to pay the bill.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next group of candidates will be the Cicero trustees. So the first on my list is Michelle Owens. I might. So the first question I have for you. One of the achievements from the previous trustee was a reduction of emergency financial assistance. Compiling township data is difficult. However, both the city of Tipton and Tipton County experienced growth in their poverty rate as reported by the last census. How do you expect to address this responsibility moving forward?
First, thank you for hosting this through the chamber and through Trinity Wesleyan Church here. I do appreciate the forum. I have spent some time reviewing the financial assistance piece over the last 10 years. There has been an obvious reduction. While I agree a reduction was necessary, especially when the height of the spending in 2014 was $52,000. That is in comparison to $4,600 in 2021. It's a major swing, $52,000 to $4,600, especially with poverty levels increasing. I don't know if you want to call that an achievement or not. I believe there are several ways to help combat the situation to achieve a healthy balance. I've met with several entities within Tipton County, from the Family Resource Center housed right here in this building, to the Tipton County Foundation's executive director. Supporting our community where they are, not just the applicants that come in for financial assistance. Excuse me. To all the entities within this community to ensure proper vetting along with proper education is a major concern. Education can be budgeting classes. Education could mean community service when available too. In addition to meeting with a couple entities here in our community, I've also met with a couple trustees outside of Tipton County. I've met with Center Township trustee in Howard County. I also met with the Jackson Township trustee in Hamilton County. Great sources of information, great sources of communication, great sources to be able to lean on, as well as they have additional information because they deal with different things than other trustees within our community. In addition to meeting with those trustees, though, within our county, to collaborate, I need to meet with all the trustees within our community and our county to collaborate and to ensure the needs of all of our people within Tipton County are met. Building those relationships and working together to overcome poverty is essential, and that means teaching people how to fish, so to speak, and not just providing them with prepared fish. Something that always hits really home for me is that in poverty situations, it's the children that usually suffer the most. Tipton County, although does a great job through the foundation, the Boys and Girls Club, through the Ministerial Association, My Closet with Tipton School Corporation, and there's many more entities that do help. But all of those entities need support too. While preparing to become trustee, I attended a grant writing class with Ball State last month. As trustee, I will utilize available grants to free up the general fund. Then we can appropriate through the general fund and pass a resolution to do things such as helping with lunch accounts, with school book fees, maybe even a scholarship to the Boys and Girls Club. Maybe even getting together with all the trustees within Tipton County to help sponsor the laundry lift that's done once a month. I mean, a trustee can even provide time. Time is essentially, the money's not coming from anywhere, right? I mean, money is your time, but you can volunteer your time. I've volunteered several times with the Family Resource Center here. You can volunteer your time with things such as back to school night as well. So how can we all work together to help those in need as a trustee?
Thank you. Second question. Cicero Township possesses an annual budget in excess of $600,000. What experience do you possess in budgeting, or how do you expect to meet the expectation of this role?
I believe that I am uniquely qualified. I do have more than 16 years experience in community banking right here in Tipton County. I also am lucky enough to have 2 degrees from Indiana Wesleyan University. I have an associate's degree in business administration, as well as a bachelor's degree in business management. I believe that those 2 things, experience and education, have provided me with a foundation to tackle an annual budget for Cicero Township. But not only that, I have also had a balanced budget for one of the community banks that I did work for here in Tipton County for several years. I've also spent time on Gateway of Indiana, as well as meeting with other trustees, the other trustees in the county. Being a trustee, in my opinion, though, is a piece of our local government that was set up to help our people in our little corner of the world. And that's from financial assistance to the volunteer fire department, that's upkeep of our cemeteries, that's our great dog park that our current trustee has helped create. But this is accomplished by recognizing and budgeting within the tax dollars that are allotted and adjusting them when necessary, such as the financial assistance piece. And taking a stance as a business development officer for Cicero Township is, in my opinion, a good viewpoint. So building an annual business plan to go along with that annual budget, and even working with people like the commissioners to see where Tipton County is going, or the city of Tipton, because Cicero Township is unique. It encompasses the city of Tipton and parts of the county. You know, building that plan with the budget and executing it with the changing landscape that we have coming to Tipton County because it is growing. It could be a challenge, but I have the experience to accomplish that. Another item is while working with a local bank here as a branch manager and business development officer, I worked through the branch growth of approximately 20% right here in Tipton. While I hope Tipton County does grow 20%, I do hope that type of growth is a controlled growth through our local government so that I can accommodate all the needs that are going to arise as the community grows. With that being said, I have to do my good part here. I would appreciate your vote come November the 9th. Please do remember that at the Tipton County Clerk's Office, you can early vote between now and November the 7th, between 8 and 4. They do close for an hour for lunch, though. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Amber, if you would join me.
These high heels on.
So same questions to you. One of the achievements from the previous trustee was the reduction of emergency financial assistance. Compiling township data is difficult. However, both the city and county experienced growth in their poverty rates, as reported by the last census. How do you expect to address this responsibility moving forward?
Well, yeah, we have experienced growth in poverty in our community, and it's sad, but with COVID and, everything else, I mean, that was going to happen. But let me explain a little bit on how our program works, because in Tipton County, the trustee's office is literally the only organization that uses taxpayers' money. Most of the others use donations, and we actually go off of taxpayers' money. So, I'm shaking. We base our application approvals off of the federal government poverty guidelines that are set by the state of Indiana. For example, like a family of 2 can't make any more than $1,526 a month. Family of 3 is $1,920, and so on and so forth. So if the applicant has lived in the township for 90 days and meets the federal poverty guidelines, then we can assist with rent, utilities, groceries, and we even help with cremation and burial if the person is indigent. And we can also provide plots in our cemeteries at no cost. The township guidelines for the amount helped are adopted by the township board. They're not set by the trustee. Like the trustee would present that to the board, and then the board adopts it.
Sure.
So if elected, I would most definitely meet with my board and discuss an amount to assist with that would make more sense with the inflation, and of course that fits within our budget. I would continue to conduct the duties of trustee as set by the state law. But like a lot of the programs, with any assistant program, the overall goal is to help with the applicants to become self-supporting. And over the last 8 years, the cost of assistance has decreased from $50,000 to $15,000 per year. But the amount of applicants have also decreased from 270 to 40. So, I mean, and that came into play because the trustee before the one we have now, he didn't have any standards set. So if people would come in, they need assistance, he would just assist, so we had to set some standards. Does that make sense? Can you bring me home water? Here. Thank you. If elected, I will continue to perform due diligence as trustee, and when someone applies for assistance, I will make sure that all federal and state assistance opportunities are exhausted before using our local taxpayers' monies. I will continue to update the township board and the township assistance standards, which are required for every township in the state of Indiana. I will help with job placement and budget training for our citizens, And I'll also implement work fair opportunities for those needing assistance that can, because a lot of times we assist and then we ask for work fair hours, but some people aren't able, like if they're on Social Security or whatever, or disabled, then they can't really come out and do any payback. So we don't expect that at all. And there's only so much money available for those needing assistance, and I will spend that money wisely, if elected, as if it was my own. But I think that's it.
Very good.
Yeah.
Next one we have. Cicero Township possesses an annual budget in excess of $600,000. What experience do you possess in budgeting, or how do you expect to meet the expectations of this role?
Okay, so I have worked with 2 different townships for 10 years total. I was at Pipe Creek Township for 5 years, and I've been at Cicero Township for 5 years. And during that 10 years of service in the township government, I've been a part of many years of budget preparation, and I'm aware of the budget for each fund that we possess. I've attended training at the Indiana Township Association to be better prepared for the financial responsibility of being trustee. And then, of course, as a fellow citizen, with a husband and a child and a mortgage and car payments and all that, that's, I set budget for my family. The township budgets have to encompass the township assistants, the fire department personnel and equipment, the noxious weed eradication and cemetery maintenance, all of that. And I'll work with my fire chief and the board members to determine what projects are of the utmost importance for our township citizens. I will then operate within that budget for those projects to become successful. We'll work for grants with other government entities whenever possible to lessen the financial burden from the township. So, if elected, I will work hard for all the members of the department, the board members, and the citizens to make my term as Cicero Township trustee successful.
Very good. Thank you, Amber.
Thank you.
The last candidates we're going to bring up this evening are the sheriff candidates. First on my list is Lee Stout. First question. Quality of life is a growing reason why people select a community to live in, and safety happens to be a contributing factor to the quality of life metric. Statistically, Tipton County is a safe community. What efforts will you take to make sure Tipton County remains a safe community?
You're right. Tipton County is a safe community. It's a safe community because our officers are so great, not only with the county, but with the city as well. I feel it's also safe because of our residents. I feel our residents look out for each other. We're there for each other in time of need, and we're like a big family. But with that being said, there's a few things that I want to mention that are important to have a safe community. And when I say these things, I'm not saying that they're not being done now, because they are. I'm saying that they're very important to continue. Police presence and community involvement, very passionate about. People want to see and they need to see a squad car go down their county road, even if they're the only house on it. They want to see a squad car in their neighborhood. They want to see an officer at community events, whether they be in uniform or they're with their family. For me, as sheriff, I feel it is my job to make sure the deputies have the best training, the best tools, the best equipment to keep our community safe and to keep them safe as well. I speak about this part all the time. I spoke about it in the last forum, and I'm very, very passionate about this. And I think it sends a huge message. Investigations remaining a top priority. Everyone wants to know that their case is being looked into, that they're important and crime is being solved. But if you keep investigations on the forefront and number one priority, for me, that sends a message that, hey, crime in Tipton County is being looked at. It's getting investigated. It's getting solved.
Number 2, opioid and prescription drug abuse continue to plague communities across the country, especially in rural communities. What efforts will you make to help address this problem?
Drugs are a problem, and Tipton County is not exempt from that problem. I've had the privilege for the last 20 years to be involved in the DARE program, And for everyone or anyone who doesn't know what that is, that's a program that our officers from the county and the city go into both schools in our county, fifth graders, and they teach them about drugs, drug abuse, making smart choices, smart decisions, bullying, amongst other several different things. It's a great program. What I want to say again, they're fifth graders. They're 10 and 11-year-olds. I have a fifth grader this year. And to me, he's still a baby. This program still needs to continue. I think it's a very good first stepping stone. But I feel we need to continue. I feel more can be done with our middle school and our high school during their most impressionable years when it comes to drugs. I just don't think we should stop at fifth grade. Also, I feel that our jail programs, we offer substance abuse classes. Our jail ministry class is growing and is amazing, as well as that GED. I feel that these classes help in stopping the cycle of drug addiction. Another thing that I think is very important, and I'm going to mention, is K-9. For a bit now, we have had K-9 Taz, shout out to him from the city, combating our drug problem. I'm happy to say, or I'm excited about, that the county now has a K-9 in training with his handler to help in that combating drugs in our community, our schools, and the drugs that are going through our county.
Thank you. Number 3, funding for public safety continues to be a challenge for our community, if you couldn't tell by all the questions about budgeting. With budgets not able to keep pace with the growing needs and salaries of our local departments, what budgetary experience do you have that will help you in this new role?
Well, I have 20 years budgeting experience, and all 20 of those years have been at the Sheriff's Department. For those 20 years, I've managed 2 very large budgets. I have many roles at the Sheriff's Department, have over 20 years. The one thing that I pride myself the most is in budgeting, in the budget. I've been told several times over several years by council people, Lee, you are the best. You are the master at budgeting. And I agree with them. That's just me, but I do. I treat taxpayers' money better than I do my own money. I said this before in the forum before, but I'm never going to neglect the needs of the department, the officers, the jail, the inmates, nor the community.
Very good. Last question. The Indiana State Board of Accounts defines the sheriff's primary responsibility as the primary duty of the county sheriff is to maintain the public peace and protect the lives and property of all the citizens of the county. One difference between yourself and Mr. Tebby is that Mr. Tebby is a graduate from the police academy, and Ms. Stout, you are not. With this in mind, what would your leadership in this role look like, and how would you satisfy the duties identified by the Indiana State Board of Accounts?
Okay, and no way, this is not a dig on Mr. Tebby at all, but that is not a requirement to be sheriff. Because he has graduated and I have not, it has no bearing on who is eligible or qualified to be sheriff. What I want to do, Keegan, is not do your job. I'm going to read the rest of the State Board of Accounts, what it says, okay? The Sheriff's Department provides peace and court security, jail operations, criminal investigations, apprehension of persons charged with criminal activity, and serves warrants and other court documents. In addition, there are administrative and fiscal responsibilities that fall on the sheriff and the Sheriff's Department. I have done these things and been involved with these things for 20 years. I'm going to tell you that 85%, if not more, of the sheriff's position is administrative. I beg each and every one of you to do your research. Go ask a former sheriff, our last 4 sheriffs. It is an administrative role. And I have that administrative experience. I want to say one last thing. One person does not make a good sheriff or a good leader. One person does not make a good department. It takes a group of people coming together, working together with the same passions and the same goal to make a good sheriff, to make a good department, and to serve the community well. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Our last candidate for this evening, Mr. Matt Tebby. Nope.
Can I put my reader on? All right.
There you are. First question. The quality of life is a growing reason why people select a community to live in, and safety happens to be a contributing factor to quality of life. Statistically, Tipton County is a safe community. What efforts will you take to make sure Tipton County remains a safe community?
I agree with Lee. Tipton is a very secure and safe community, but there are still potentials out there for harm to come to members of this community. Obviously, yeah, hiring more deputies, more officers, that's the obvious thing. But with the budgets and everything, we can't always do that. But if you start with the DARE program, with the kids in the school, you work your way up. We're not hitting everything we should be hitting. There's DARE programs for the junior high, there's DARE programs for the high school kids. That's one of the things that was brought up to me here just a couple weeks ago out to high school. And I told them the thing with this, have not been invited to be in the middle school and high school because of their schedules and that sort of stuff. There's other things we can do to bring that in there through different ways, different programs and that sort of stuff. We should be able to provide a bit better mental health issues. That's another big thing we got to deal with on a daily basis. Mental health through calls we get and whatever else, that sort of stuff. Because we never know when we get a call for somebody who's having some issues, we don't know how they're going to react when we show up. But if we can get them the mental health through either in-county help or out-of-county help or refer them to somebody who can help them through the churches or something to that effect. Just maybe that might help them down the long way, okay? Also, if we got juvenile issues. We got kids that are out way after curfew, whatever else. We got to get the parents involved. It's like the old Channel 13. Hey, it's 10 o'clock. Where's your kids? We got to get the parents back involved of where your kids are at, okay? And if they don't get involved, it's going to be harder for us. We got to get those certain kids that want to be out after curfew or whatever else. We got to get them back home, get them back in the family atmosphere. Okay. Also, I had an idea of bringing mentors into the schools. That's part of, hey, let's bring them into the middle school, bring them to high school. We have a convocation. We can people who've been through the situation of drugs and alcohol, who have, how do you want to say, beat the addictions. We vet them. We bring them in. We let them tell the kids, hey, this is what could happen to you. Maybe one or two of those people who have been through it can get through to those kids and say, you don't want to go down this road. It's not what you want to do. And just maybe one or two of those kids might get saved instead of ended up, when they turn 18, ending up in a county jail or possibly a state prison. Okay? That's just a few of the things that I want to try to do. All right? There's also a program that's happening right now in a county to the east of us. They're bringing in employers to job interview inmates who are potentially getting out early. Why not bring those people into our jail, sit them down with inmates who are getting ready within the next month or so, getting out, see what they possibly be there for them to have a job when they get out, so we start breaking the cycle up that way. There's a lot of things that we can do that either one haven't been thought of yet or haven't been tried yet in the county that would help big time with the kids and the inmates we have now in our jail.
Very good. Second question, opioid and prescription drug abuse continues to plague communities across the country, especially in rural communities. What efforts will you make to help address this problem?
Right now, with the city and the county guys, we have a great group of guys, who know their job as way of dealing with the drugs, getting them off the street, and that sort of stuff. But the thing, there's also, do you know that we have a drug hotline? A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't know we have a drug hotline. You can call it confidentially. You drop a tip on somebody. The sheriff hands it off to one of our officers, usually somebody who's got a lot of experience in drug investigations, hands it off to them, and they run with it. And then and eventually, if things work out and they get enough information, enough evidence on them, they get arrested. They come to jail. We get them off the street. Okay? Also, again, back to the DARE program. It starts in the 5th grade. Keep it pushing in the 5th grade. I've been doing it for, come this spring, it'll be my 7th year being a DARE instructor. I love doing it. Love doing it. The kids up there I deal with at Tri-Central, that's where I've been for the last, going on the 7th year. I have a good rapport with them. Heck, I go up there every so often just to walk through and whatever else. I got kids coming to me who I've had 3 years ago. Mr. Tabby, how you been? I mean, I've got a good rapport, and they're still wanting to talk and see what's going on. So, excuse me. All right. And also, just finishing up here. All right. And then also, we've got, with the opioid prescription take-back, we've got 2 what we call drug boxes. One's at the courthouse, one's at the city police department, where people can go, drop their medications off, throw them in the mailbox, and if somebody's got legal drugs they want to get rid of and try to get off the situation, they can throw them in there, no questions asked. Why aren't we trying to put one of those in every town? Either put one in the Kempton Town Hall, where somebody can go in there and not have to worry about being exposed. They can throw it in there and get rid of it. The Windfall Community Center, put one up there. Sharpsville Town Hall, put one in there. That gives people a place to take their used medications, their drugs, or whatever else they don't want to have anymore. Put them in them mailboxes, and a designated officer, which I'm the one who does it now for the courthouse, we go, we collect it, we dispose of it, and there's no questions asked. That gives an opportunity for somebody who really wants to get off the stuff to dispose of it and do it confidentially.
Yeah.
So that's just something else I want to look at.
Very good. Number 3, funding for public safety continues to be a challenge for our community, with budgets not able to keep pace with the growing needs and salaries of our local departments. What budgetary experience do you have that will help you in this new role?
That question, I am very laxed in. Okay, this is the first year I've really been involved with the budget. Sheriff Tony Frawley, he brought me and me and Lee both in, and hey, this is our budget for the year. This is what we're asking for. This is what we're doing from there. Ever since I decided to run for this office, I've been watching every county council meeting that dealt with budgets or dealt with allocations of money, trying to figure out exactly why they're wanting more money or why they're doing this and that. I'm trying to get a good handle on that. If I have a question about budgets, I know a couple friends of mine who know more about budgets than I do. I go to them and I ask, why are they doing this? Why are they doing this? And I keep asking the question until I totally understand what's going on. This part of this is going to be a learning experience for me. I don't stop learning every day. It's every day on the road. I learn something new on the road. This is going to be another step for me to start learning more and more about why we have the budget we have. There's certain things in the budget that are set in stone we can't really match or change. There's certain things in the budget, Wes, you never know. Inmate situations, medical side, gas and fuel on the sheriff's department patrol side, you never can tell with fuel prices, you never can tell with medical side. Those, you never know. You have to go back and allocate for more money for this or that, but there's certain things that are controllable, and If we look hard enough, there might be a way we can penny pinch here, penny pinch there, or shift some things around to make everything work so everybody on the sheriff's department and the community are happy. And that way our guys are continuously being well-trained and able to do the job that they need to do.
Yeah, very good. Last question I have for you. The Indiana State Board of Accounts defines the sheriff's primary responsibility as the primary duty of the county sheriff is to maintain the public peace and protect the lives and property of all the citizens of the county. The main difference between yourself and Lisa is that you are a graduate from the police academy. With this in mind, what would your leadership in this role look like, and how would you satisfy the duties identified by the Indiana State Board of Accounts?
Yes, there is going to be a lot of more administrative stuff that needs to be done by the sheriff. There's also stuff that, as way of administrator, you can designate to my major, who I'm going to put in from the department itself. There's things that the major can do to help with the sheriff and his administration. And the thing of it is, there's a lot of things that the administration, yes, you're going to deal with the county council, you're going to deal with the commissioners, you're going to deal with all kinds of different boards. It's all on how you plan your day, how you allocate your time, and go from that. I'm not going to neglect these guys on the road. Sir. I'm not going to neglect these guys on the road. They put their heart and soul into this job. Yes, I'm going to be an administrator, but I'm not going to let these guys work by themselves on the road, because right now we're working 12-hour shifts. Guys taking days off, guys taking vacation time. Right now we got certain times we're working 3 hours by ourselves, sometimes we're working 6 hours by ourselves. That should not be happening. I understand because of manpower issues and that sort of stuff. And I understand that we got to do to make sure the public is safe. We're down officers. We're down officers. We got 2 guys that are in training right now. They're going to be in training for another couple of months. We still got 1 more guy to hire. So we're still down. We're still working our tails off. We're not going to give up on the community. We're going to be there. But let's put it this way. If I'm in a meeting and my radio goes off and my guys are needing help, sorry guys, I'm gone. My guys need my help on the road. I'm not going to turn my back on them just because somebody wants to talk about who knows what. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Tebby. That concludes my questions for you. Another round of applause, if you wouldn't mind, for the candidates who showed up this evening. As I mentioned, this does conclude our program. The candidates, my mistake, Mr. Johnson has arrived. We're going to jump back to the school board. Gary, if you wouldn't mind joining me on stage. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Tipton Community School Corporation Board. The Tipton Community School Corporation has been making some significant changes over the last few years to help reposition the school for success and growth. Do you expect to support these efforts, and what new ideas do you think should be explored?
Well, the changes and improvements at the school have been astronomical, and kudos to the administration and Dr. Glaze. I think they have done a great job in forwarding that and pushing through and getting things going. So supporting that is most definitely top priority. Some of the things I'd like to see, with some of the things that we're doing currently with the greenhouse and some of those things in the agriculture, I think the next step might be possibly moving into creating a robotics laboratory, getting that, and also utilizing some of our area manufacturers and that type of thing to help develop that.
Very good. Second question, similar to public safety, our local schools struggle with turnover as a result of funding. Do you have any thoughts on this issue and how the school may be able to create solutions to reduce turnover?
Well, after spending 16 years on the board, I can tell you that funding is always an issue, especially with the school. You know that as well, Keegan. A lot of times with the teacher salaries, I mean, they need to come up. There's no denying that. But working within the constraints of the budget, I think there needs to be some creative outlets looked at to try and work through those type of things. Possibly we need to maybe look at more benefits and that type of thing that we can actually provide for our staff, and also so that they can actually have a better quality of life.
Very good. Last question I have for you. With student enrollment still a major priority for the school district, do you have any thoughts on how to grow enrollment at Tipton Community School Corporation?
Well, as far as enrollment, I think that's been improving here as of late from what I've been told. Dr. Glaze said that they are up this year for enrollment, and as they were last year slightly. So I think we're on a positive swing in that regard. But as far as bringing more people into the schools, I think this is something that we're going to have to open the doors for and say, and look to the community and say, we need your assistance. We need you to work with us to actually bring more people into the community. The city government, county government, not-for-profit organizations, that type of thing, to help promote the schools and to promote a good quality of life here in Tipton community.
Very good. That concludes my questions, Gary. Thank you very much. Just scanning the audience one last time. That does conclude our program for this evening. I do want to thank you all for investing your time today to hear the candidates speak. I believe some of the candidates are sticking around, so if you have further questions, I encourage you to ask those to those candidates. Otherwise, I do thank you for your time this evening. And again, this is being live streamed on the Tipton County Chamber's Facebook page. So if you have any questions or want to clarify statements that were made, that video is going to exist on our website. Thank you.